All right, ladies, let's talk about when should you go to date number two with a man. So I want to address this answering a question that I got from a client of mine inside the Claim program. Hi, everyone. I'm Anna Rova. I'm a feminine embodiment coach for single successful women who are looking to attract committed masculine men. And so today I'm addressing one of the questions that I got from my community. And so this woman says, let's call her Jane. Jane says, I have been on 4 to 5 dates with different men since starting to funnel, meaning since starting to date different men at a time, which is something that I teach. And she says, of all these men, there's only one I wanted to go on a second date and agreed to do so. I know we're supposed to give men chances, but when it's a no, based on personality and not materialistic things or looks, do I really need to be open to date number two? My body says it's a no, but it's a no. My body says it's a no, but it's a no a lot. So I'm not sure if this is just me not being fully open. Any insights appreciated? Great question that so many women are asking themselves. Now, one of the women greatly asked her, what's not attractive? Like why don't you want to go on date number two with men? With this particular guy or with one guy. So Jane, let's call her Jane, right? She says he talks nonstop, like shoots questions out without allowing conversation to come out of that, and it just felt very awkward. The effort was there, but he's like immensely high energy too, but don't come anywhere close to that. He admitted that his family has told him he needs to stop doing that. I didn't bring it up. He mentioned himself. And yes, he texted exactly like that, sending 6 long messages one at a time. I kept saying I'm getting lost responding to, so I'm feeling confident it's just him and not nerves. He was cute, put in the effort, and was actually looking forward to date one. But now I'm like, I'd rather not waste my time. So, really great question. And I'm going to start with this premise that we need to give men chances. We need to give men chances, especially after a first date. One date is, in my opinion, not enough to really to really get to know a guy, unless it's something just like, I don't know, a massive red flag, or like his breath smells from a meter apart, or like you're really sitting there and it's like extremely uncomfortable in your physical body. I mean, for different women, it's different things. I always say, and this is actually contrary to what other even dating coaches teach. That saying, like a hell no, like look for a hell yes right from the beginning. I actually don't agree with that. My husband was a hell no in the beginning. And have I been too much in my head? Have I dismissed him because he was bald, was wearing like flip flops, and was carrying this like weird backpack, when I imagined that my man is gonna be this like lumberjack who's like bearded and into yoga? I would have dismissed him completely. I also would have dismissed him completely after our first night together, first sex together, which actually happened pretty fast. And it was really bad. I would have dismissed him because he didn't have that strong game of pursuing me, going after me right away. So there's all these things that I could have dismissed simply because I had an idea in my head about red flags or what I want, what I don't want. And yes, you should know what you want in a man. But most importantly, after that, step 2 is ask yourself, how do you want to feel with a man? And then throw away your whole checklist, honestly. Because I see women making this mistake so many times, that I have an idea of how a man should look like and what he should say and blah, blah, but they don't know how it feels like. So how I would answer Jane's question is, notice how it feels in your body. So personality actually is a very interesting thing, because you know how sometimes, I don't know if you had these situations where you were, like, say, a friend, right? Or a person that you've met for the first time, and it was like quite weird, or something was not working. And then after a while, actually, you warmed up to them, and you actually found that the qualities that you in the beginning found repelling or like weird, you made some judgments or decisions about them, are actually quite endearing, and you completely change your opinion about them. I've seen this, right? So, in my opinion, like somebody asked me this question also, is it like, is your intuition, how do you know if it's your intuition talking, if it's a body? No. And when you should listen to that. And how I answer that question is, I think that there are very few people in the world who can, be in a situation, let's say go on a date, and immediately from day one, like no, right? Like date one, no. Unless, when it's like extremely bad. Like you would know when it's extremely bad or it's extremely good. Like obviously follow that, right? Like if it's a fuck yes, then follow that. If it's my husband was, I say a hell no, because there's all these things that I'd be like, that's not the guy for me. And I even told him that, right? But he was not, that was more like, he was not physically repelling to me. You go to some dates with people and you're like, oh my God, I cannot be with this guy in a room one more minute. Like if that's the case, run, right? Well, not run, but like walk away. Yeah, or sometimes run. But when it's a situation of a maybe, and when it's the first date, I don't think that's enough information when it's that maybe. So with this guy who's extremely high energy, right? And his family's telling him about it, like, okay, he's self-aware about this, right? I'd really, really recommend that you give this guy a chance. I say give men, especially if you're someone who haven't dated a lot, or if you or maybe if you have dated, but you have not dated while you're funneling, meeting different men, and also you haven't done it from an embodied place, which if you're my client, you know what I'm talking about. You're going to do your feminine flow every day. And we do all of these feminine embodiment practices that are really allowing you to get out of your head and into your body. Dating many men, if you haven't had that experience, is amazing, because you just get to know men better. And look, and also when you give men chances, and when you interact with men beyond the first date, especially when they lead, it's all about practice. You don't owe anything to this guy, right? Like, what have you got to lose? Like, waste your time? Sure. But you're my, I'm talking to Jen, who's my client, but also a lot of you who are listening to this, you could look at this as a waste of time, but you could also look at this as practice and research. It's practice in terms of polarity. A lot of women are very unskilled and unpracticed in polarity, in leaning back and letting the guy lead, especially if you're not like head over heels with this guy. Practice polarity, right? Completely lean back, let him pursue, let him organize, and say yes, right? And by date 3, whether it happens, over a week, 2 to 3, you will know, okay? So practice, it's going to help you. So number 1, practice polarity, practice leaning back, letting this guy lead. Number 2 is also take this as practice to communicate your boundaries. Communicate. I think that in this particular situation, what I would advise my client is to go on another date with a guy, because you don't know, right? And so, obviously there's this thing, is it him or is it nerves? Jane obviously says, he's texting like this, his family's taking, giving him this feedback, and it's not him. It's not nerves, it's just him. I would go on a second date with him. And if you still feel this way, then I would practice giving him feedback and saying, hey, give him the shit sandwich, right? Hey, John, I'm enjoying like whatever you're enjoying with him. I mean, if there's absolutely nothing that you're enjoying, right? Like, and he's physically repellent to you, like, don't go, listen to your body. But if you've been someone who had really, really high standards, has said no a lot, practice being with men. Just for research, be with men and ask them questions, right? Okay, this guy talks nonstop and whatever, is full of himself. Okay, ask him more questions, right? Do the research. Check out his masculine flavor, what he's all about, and really observe him. And maybe this will lead you to something really interesting as a conversation. Why is he like that? What is that about? What is he trying to overcompensate, right? So when I meet men and people in general, I don't make assumptions about them. And I mean, obviously, you want to be intentional with your dating, but you're going to find the guy you really like and that really likes you through experience and through developing the empathy muscle. So if you can't see yourself for another minute with this guy and your whole body is revolting and repulsing, like, don't go listen to your body. But in the majority of cases, I find that it's such good practice to actually practice empathy, ask a lot of questions. Worst case scenario, you're going to go on a date. I mean, maybe you're even going to have a good date, like pick a place somewhere, like go to a concert or something, and just observe this man, right? What are his dreams? What are his fears? My alarm went off, sorry. What are his fears, right? And then after the next day, give him feedback. So you're getting lost in his energy, and Jane says that you've communicated that. I kept saying I'm getting lost responding, okay? So after that, you just gave the shit sandwich. Hey, John, I've enjoyed getting to know you. However, I feel like your high energy and the speed of your conversation doesn't match my energy. I don't feel comfortable in having this conversation with you. It feels this and this and that. Give men feedback and then say, I like you, but I just don't feel like, unless that changes, or unless, that's brought down, I don't see how we're a good fit. That's it. And maybe the guy will sit there and be like, holy shit, my whole family is telling me this. And this woman that I really like is also telling me this. How can I work on that? And then let him lead. Like maybe he's going to ask you more questions and be like, what would you prefer? Okay, I'll try to work on that, right? And indeed, this might be a situation that is not going to change, right? I'm not saying the guy's going to change for you or whatever, but you're giving them feedback, right? How amazing it would be if men who you are dating and who, let's say, are getting cold or ghosting, whatever, would give you feedback. Doesn't feel good, but at least you have feedback. So that would be my response. I hope this is helpful. And if you're watching this video, by the way, if you're on YouTube, where can I send you? There's going to be a video up top here. So click here to learn about how to funnel, right? How to date multiple men at a time. And if you are listening to the podcast, then you can just search for funneling, right? Okay, thank you. Bye.